The McMahon has come around. In the past hour, Vince McMahon has officially returned to WWE. We've got here the press release from the Board of Directors. I'm going to go through it. Under Delaware law, the power to remove any director resides in the stockholders entitled to vote for the election of such director. Article 6, Chapter Article 2, yada, 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 yada. Therefore, hereby resolved, effective immediately, each of the following individuals hereby is removed without cause from the Board of Directors of the corporation, I do declare. Joe Ellen Lyons Dillon, Jeffrey R. Speed, Adam M. Wexler. 3 WWE board members are gone.
Yep.
Following on from this, there's vacancies to fill. Under Delaware law, by the power to fill director vacancies, yada, yada, yada. Article 6, Charter grants the board, yada. Article 2, Section 2.12, hereby resolved, effective immediately. The following individuals elected to fill a vacancy on the Board of Directors caused by the removal resolution. George Barrios, Michelle Wilson, Vincent K. McMahon. Vince is back.
Vince is back.
Now, this is something that was leaked last night. We thought there might be a little bit more of a tussle, which we'll talk about in a few moments' time. But there it is. Vince McMahon now back as a board member in WWE, and the inclusion of George and Michelle in there is quite telling. More on that in a moment. The Wrestling Observer gave some light as to why now Vince McMahon is returning.
Yeah, they did. So Wrestling Observer saying if they want to sell, he will block it, because once it is sold, he will have no way in, because he would no longer control the voting shares. But at the same time, he does want to sell the company, but do it while in charge, so the deal could benefit him and he can work himself into being kept in charge after the sale. All of his leverage to return is based on his voting shares that will be gone once the sale is complete.
So basically, if WWE was going to sell without Vince McMahon in the mix, he'd have no control, he'd have no gain from it. So whereas now, he feels it pertinent to step in and help sell the media rights because, well, if they sell while he's there, he stands to make out with a lot of money.
Yep, and still remains to be in control in some capacity as well.
That's it, because whoever ends up buying WWE, should it be a company like Universal or Amazon or Netflix or even Disney, chances are they would leave Vince McMahon as the controlling shareholder to keep an eye on everything.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Yeah, so Vince McMahon alongside George Barrios and Michelle Wilson rejoin the WWE Board of Directors. The board also occupied by the likes of Paul Levesque, Nick Khan, and Stephanie McMahon. They are still very much part of the company. McMahon bringing Barrios and Wilson in is a very tactical move. He knows them very well. They were co-presidents in the WWE for quite some time. Despite the fact that it was Vince that fired them, there's still obviously a lot of power there. So Vince bringing them in. Before we came downstairs to film this video, Jack Atkins from Cultaholic.com and the Cultaholic Classic Raw review compared this to Draco Malfoy bringing in Crabbe and Goyle.
His loyal lackeys. Because already Vince McMahon is a strong shareholder within the company, the strongest shareholder within the company. Yeah.
But to have 2 other people on the board as well to agree with everything you say, it's a powerful. It's just sort of doubling down on the power in the boardroom.
That is a powerful position you're in, then, right?
Yes. Yeah. So he's basically gained a couple of allies today. How this could all go down has been run through by Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer newsletter. Now, Dave published the Observer probably about 25 minutes before all of this was announced, and he said then there was a few ways this could go: a direct pitch to the shareholders at the annual meeting. It could see WWE cutting a deal with Vince and potentially George and Michelle, or, quote, it ends up in a bloodbath with a fight that plays out right to the shareholders and a call for a vote. And Meltzer also suggested it could become down the road a court battle. Now, Vince being back in along with George Barrios and Michelle Wilson, this doesn't necessarily mean that's the end. That's not the end complete.
No,
because you're going to have Paul, you're going to have Nick Khan, you're going to have Stephanie McMahon, and potentially there is going to be a bit of bloodletting across the board further to come, and a lot of arguing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I saw that quote as well, my heart was like, I feel like it's going to go in that direction.
Yeah.
Especially with things that we've heard as well, and other things that we'll get onto in a sec. But like, the people behind the scenes, backstage and everything have expressed their sort of...
Been a lot of strong wordage,
There's
hasn't there?
been a lot of strong wordage. They've expressed themselves in wanting people to know that they don't want Vince McMahon back within the company. And if this is the way that Vince is coming back into the company with some force, it seems like as well, then I can imagine there's gonna be perhaps a bloodbath on the hands.
I think that a lot of it comes back. I mean, there's obviously a lot of concern and distrust with Vince McMahon and creative. I think we look too much at the outside of it being like the creative side of it.
Yeah.
We worry about all those storyline elements of wrestling being ripped away so Vince McMahon can do his style of booking once again. But it's a much bigger thing than that. It actually is far bigger than whether Karrion Kross is going to wear a red helmet or not. Like, this is something that changes the very fate of WWE, and it could see not even within the next year, within the next quarter, Andrew, we could see WWE sold to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
And that changes wrestling, because no longer does it then become a company that is run unto itself, to its own ideas. It becomes a property. It becomes an IP that then whoever owns it can do with it whatever they will.
Yeah.
Even shelf it. I know that sounds like a stupid idea. The idea that somewhere like Netflix would go, this WWE thing isn't working, let's just mothball it. That's a really wild out there idea. But you do become at the whims and the mercies of whoever owns the WWE IP.
Of course.
If
something like that does happen, and you're right as well, it's not, it sounds like a silly thing to happen, and not that like any sort of buyer would actually do that.
No,
but,
for the record, the company does very well.
Yeah.
So I can't see that happening.
But at the same time, that could be a possibility.
You're at the whims and the mercies of whoever owns you.
Of course,
if Disney thinks that the WWE thing isn't working, then they'll strip the best assets of it and do something else with it. And like I said, so this is a real moment in time. This is happening. It's a real moment in time. The backstage reaction continues. We talked in our first video, thanks to Fightful Select, who gave us some intel from some of their sources. We reckon there's a meeting happening at SmackDown tonight. But PW Insider sources have also spoke to some of their people regarding the Vince McMahon announcement.
They have, yeah. So PW Insider sources inside WWE have actually reacted to the Vince news, and it goes on to say it pretty much shocked everyone we've spoken with. I would say that except for the most inner circle, this absolutely took them by surprise. The company morale has gone up exponentially since Vince retired, so a lot of people are wondering what things will look like in the days ahead. Lots of trepidation for sure. We've heard from some who have said if that he is back, they want out, but whether that actually happens remains to be seen.
I think we'll have a clearer picture by probably this time tomorrow, if not sooner, about how that is going to shape up. There is, I say, conversations. There's a rumor and innuendo there'll be a meeting at SmackDown tonight, because everybody was caught off guard by this. A lot of talent that PW Insider, as Andrew told you there, and from Fightful, were like, well, we're finding out online. So there'll be no doubt a meeting that takes place tonight, and we'll be able to fill you in on what is happening with this across the weekend. But yeah, bringing you the breaking news from today. Vince McMahon, after the talk of him returning broke late last night, Vince McMahon officially back on the WWE Board of Directors. As of now, several directors removed from the company, and it looks as if the for sale sign could be going up anytime now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just think, like 6 months ago, we were talking about his retirement. 6 or so months ago, we were talking about his retirement, and look where we are now.
It is the wildest season of Succession I think I've ever seen, and we're getting a front row seat for it. We'll have more wrestling news throughout the day, of course, at cultaholic.com. Keith.
Love you, bye.